beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. And we are here to talk about Ladies Who List Atlanta episode 2. I'm not going to do like a complete and total breakdown because there wasn't a whole heck of a lot going on. Nothing really happened to the end of the show. So we're going to get through it real quick and let's get started. All right, so in the episode, we have Kira trying to sell a condo to B. Simone. And apparently the closet is too small, the bedroom, everything about this place is just kind of too small. So that doesn't work out well, but maybe she'll find something. She said she met B. Simone years ago when she was doing hair, and B. Simone did her hair. So good job on these ladies for the come up. I love it. We also learned that Kira, unfortunately, had bought a house. It was a beautiful home, and her boyfriend moved in together. I think she said, well, we found out later that it was about a month after she moved in that her house burnt down. One of her neighbors called and told her while she was gone. They were both out the house, I guess out of town, and her house burnt down. And when I tell you, crushed me. My heart dropped because I swear I just be at work having a good day, and then all of a sudden I just think to myself, oh my God, what if my house is on fire? What if I get home and my house burned down? Like just randomly. So that is just awful, and I felt so bad for her. But she said after the fire, and it looks like she's trying to rebuild after the fire. I don't know how long ago it was, but apparently she and her boyfriend, they're no longer together because, you know, did she say why? I don't think she said why, so I won't even make up something. I was going to put it on him because that's what I do. I'm always putting it on the man, but she didn't say why. They're just not together. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but, maybe she learned through this that he just doesn't really have her back in certain instances. Like, this was something big for them to go through together, and they couldn't make it through it. Then it's best that she found out soon enough about him, in my opinion. Then we have Kiana doing a live talking about her, her business and everything. And we learned a little bit more about her. We learned that she came from very, very humble beginnings. She said sometimes their lights will be cut off for 30 days at a time. And she would go to class and to school, and kids would be upset about what they got in their lunchbox, and she's struggling. She's like, dang, I wish I would have gotten something like that. So she learned very early on what it is she really wanted and did not want, I guess, out of life. Unfortunately, her whole entire family is dependent upon her, so that puts a lot of pressure on her. Last episode, I wasn't in love with this girl because I don't know, I don't know who I really liked and didn't like in this whole thing. It was a lot going on. I do feel like I like her a little bit more in this episode. She's a little bit more relatable. She has this whole feminine masculine thing going on, but it's okay. She's still a cute girl, and yeah, I think I like her. Sometimes. With all of them, I think I like them sometimes. That's the whole crazy part about this show. We also got to meet Kiana's husband. Apparently, they've been knowing each other, I think she said, for 13 years. I can't remember how long they've been married. 8 years, 6 years, something like that. But, yeah, cute little situation. She went to dinner with, let me find out which one of these girls. It wasn't Kiara because Kiara's boyfriend left her, or she left him. But who was it that she went? Was it Tiana? She went to lunch with. They were on a double date. Let me find out. So before jumping to the double date, she and her husband was talking about Robin and what Robin did in terms of asking her for 500 a file, and she had like 26, 27 files. She said it would have come out to like $13,000. Okay, first off, I don't know what any of this means in terms of what she was supposed to do for her. I don't know. So I don't know how much work Robin would have actually had to put into each file, if there was any. Like, they're not saying that. I did think it was interesting that the husband, and I do remember in her story, she said that Robin was friends with her husband, and Kiana's husband said, well, yeah, if she's supposed to be a friend, then you would think. And then she said, he said, my friend. And I'm like, yeah, so she's more so the husband's friend. So if she doesn't want to do a solid for your girl, it could be a little foul. But again, I don't know what it all entails in terms of what she would have had to do per file. Also, if it's right in the smack of COVID and the shutdown and everything, and you're having a hard time and saying how you got fired, you needed this favor, this and that, how do you know that she didn't need the $13,000? I mean, I know Crystal said, well, she didn't need it, but Crystal's not in her pocket, and her and Crystal seem to be frenemies. Like, they just do. They don't seem to be girls for real. So, I don't know that I could really, take at face value anything that Crystal was saying about this girl because she seemed to not really like her in actuality. I don't know. But you just never know. Maybe she did need the $13,000. You just never know. But again, it all depends on how much work she would have had to do on each file to help this lady out. We can't really say, oh, that's way too much. We don't know. And then we know in real estate, you get paid a lot. Well, I can't say just a general real estate get paid a lot. It depends on your commission and everything. But again, it's hard for us to call because they're not explaining exactly what it all entails. So I'm going to stay out of it, but I can't say that Robin is wrong in this because I don't really know. All right, the girl Tiffany goes driving with her son. Period. The end. There's nothing else to that. It's stressful. It is. That was the only time I felt like I could not do anything for my child. I was just like, I can't do this. It's like, she's making me so mad with this. It's so frustrating. I just felt like that was the one thing, trying to teach her how to drive, that I would not be able to do. Anyway, turns out she's fine. Yeah, it's just a stressful situation. So that's what happened with Tiffany and her son. Okay, and it was actually Tiffany and her husband that went out with, I think Kiana and her husband. Tiffany and her husband been together 13 years, so good for them. But nothing really happened. They were talking about the girls. They asked the men, let us tell you what happened. The men didn't want to know what happened. So, makes sense to me. So we get to the party. Looks like a rooftop party or something like that. And Robin gets there. All the girls stand. They give her a hug. Everything is nice. They do a little toast to, all the beautiful ladies. She thanks Crystal for bringing all of them together. They're like, is it Crystal or is it you? And she's like, well, she's the one that made all the phone calls. So thank you for that. And she's telling us in the confessional how kind of nervous she is or whatever. She doesn't know really how to come out with it and present it. And as she's talking, she's like, so I just had a thought about all the powerhouse women. And Crystal says, what is it that you want from us? And at first, I couldn't tell who said it until they showed that it was Crystal. And I'm like, hold on, you're her girl. Let her talk. Are you kidding me? Like, why are you interrupting while she's trying to get it out? You coming off like somebody who is one of just the other girls, the randoms who don't know what she's getting at. So as Crystal says that, Kiana's like, yeah, pretty much just like kind of get to it. What is it that you want? And I'm like, look at what Crystal is starting here. So she finally spits it out and she says, listen, the brokerage you work for, you make a lot of money for them. You work for a brokerage, you make a lot of money for them. I just figured we could all get together and we could pretty much take over every county. She's like, I do condos. That's my jam. She looks at Kiana. She's like, your luxury. That's all you. Somebody else does athletes and rappers or whatever. And it was pretty interesting that Tiana was like, yeah, what did she say? Something about collaboration or whatever. And she's like, but all these black women, and I just knew she was going to be like, that's trouble. It's not going to work out. No, she was like, I think it's a great idea. And I was like, well, that is very refreshing that she thought or she thinks so. That's really cool. For real. I think that's cool that she did not come out with something negative because I feel like they got a lot of egos going on here. They do. I mean, it probably could work if everybody wanted it and they got along and maybe they were friends first, but it's a lot of egos going on for them to all try to get together. So Kiana starts to speak and she's like, I think for me though, I've done collaborations before, this and that. And we hear in the background, the peanut gallery, Q, be honest, this is Crystal. Again, this is Robin's girl egging just negativity on. Like, she irritated the entire shit out of me this whole entire time. Like, I was like, okay, on the first one, I think they both had issues. Robin was coming off a little batshit crazy. Like, she kept flying off the rails. However, in this scene, we could see where Crystal is very triggering. We'll just use that word. That's her favorite word. She likes to trigger Robin and just egg on situations. I don't like it. So anyway, back to the fight. Kiana says, well, not fight, but the little argument. Kiana says, to start something like this, you guys have to have a mutual respect and everything. And I'm not going to lie, I have an issue with the way you came off when I asked you for your help. And she's like, unlike you, I was in the middle of trying to build something. And she's like, totally offended. What do you mean that I wasn't trying? She's like, no, what I mean is you were established. I am, I'm trying to build. And just at that point, Crystal says something else because Robin is trying to tell her, she's like, can I tell you what's happening? Can I tell you what happened? And Crystal says something. I couldn't hear what she said, but I just know that Robin was like, Crystal, I'm trying to talk to Kiana. Kiana's like, yeah, I'm trying to talk to you too. And I'm like, yeah, Crystal, nobody's talking to you right now. Shut the hell up. So Robin starts off bad. She says, I did something to you last year or something like that. She's like, and you held on to it for all this time. And Crystal says, well, it's okay for her to still be uncomfortable about something. Robin says, Crystal, and I'm just like, really? What the fuck? Like, why can't she just shut up? Honestly, this girl needed to shut up. But, Kiana kept talking. And Robin is like, how do you expect to do business with someone when, they did this to you? Robin says, well, I'm sorry. Can we get past it now? Kiana's like, with that response? And she's like, no, I'm just saying, trying to make it more sincere. But no, you already said it how you wanted to say it. Like, you don't give a shit. You just feel like she should have let it go a long time ago. No conversation, no apology, no explanation, no nothing. Just get over it. So the fact that you threw out a sorry doesn't mean that you're actually sorry. So Kiana says, listen, we can have a conversation about it one-on-one later or whatever. That's fine. And she says, yeah, because I'll just tell you that my mental state, at that point in time, I was in a place where my mental state was all over the map. I couldn't focus. I didn't really care about anything. Like, she was trying to give somewhat of an explanation. Her girl, Crystal, over there rolling her eyes. Y'all, I can't make it up. This girl really don't like her friend, Robin. She don't. So, Kiana says, yeah, okay, don't, she told her don't deflect. And Robin's like, don't try to discount, what I've been through and where I've been. So Tiffany in her confessional says how she was really feeling for Robin. She felt attacked and she can understand, her having a mental situation. She's like, when you go through stuff like that, you don't even know that you're affecting people the way you are. And she's like, no one has her back. And I'm like, yeah, not even her friend. Then we have Kira who jumps in and says, yeah, speaking of respect, you guys, Kira's whole issue is that she didn't really know Robin and Crystal, but at some point they both stopped following her on social media at the same time. Number one, how do you know? How do you know? Y'all, I don't know when people not following me or when I unfollow people. I unfollow people so much that later on I'll look for people, be like, oh, what happened to such and such in school? I used to, be following her. And I'll go and look for them. We're not friends no more. And then I'll think back to myself like, oh, shit, I deleted them a long time ago. And I just be deleting people because if we don't have a connection, like, we not talking, we not nothing, I just feel like there's no point in them being all up in your life and all up in your business. So it's never anything personal. But this girl took it truly personal. Two girls she don't even know. She said 1 billion times, I never met them really, I don't really know them, but they stopped following me. And she was really pissed off about that. Like, really pissed off. So Kiara's talking, and she's talking in circles, talking about how she really don't care, but she just don't understand. And I'm like, you obviously do care because you're bringing it up and you're talking about it, and you seem very bothered. And as she's talking, Robin's trying to jump in and say, listen, you're wrong. It wasn't because of that. It was because we weren't engaging, this and that. So what's the point? The same thing I just said, basically. If you are not engaging, what is the point of still following that person? But as she's trying to jump in, Crystal is telling her, Rob, which irritates me too. Quit with the whole Rob thing. Rob, let her speak. Rob. And she's like clapping her hands, trying to tell Robin to be quiet. Bitch, who are you? Like, shut your face. Like, girl, when I tell you, I can't with Crystal. Cannot with Crystal. So Kira ended up saying something about them being older, and she's like the older realtors. And then Crystal does this really loud laugh, and she's just trying to get stuff started. Oh my God, now we're older, we're old, this and that. So of course then that kind of gets Robin like older. She stands up. She's like, "Oh, look, older, that not so bad." And I'm like, "Okay, now it's really gotten really immature." Um, Kira's trying to say, "No, that's not what I mean. I just mean you guys are more senior and in the business and you should kind of, I guess be nicer to the younger ones and trying to show them the way." I don't know how any of this makes any type of difference if they never talk to each other before. They don't know each other. So these people never really did anything to you, Kira. But she tells Robin, listen, I can pull up my DMs where you all in my DMs with the heart eyes talking about, oh, Kira, you're so beautiful. Don't be a fan and then come in here like an op. And I'm like, girl, what are you, 12? Like, honestly, she comes off as definitely the youngest one here. Very, very childish. So Robin goes at Kira a little bit more in terms of her being childish, and it's just Instagram and get over it. Um, Kira says something about shitting on Robin. Listen, I haven't been in the business that long or whatever, but don't try to collaborate with me because I'll shit on you. So she ends up telling Crystal that Kira is not a part of the army because you don't tell her you're going to shit on her and then think you're still going to be a part of it. I'm like, girl, I don't think any of these women want to be a part of it. So what are you missing? At this, Crystal gets up, she comes around, and Robin stands up and she's like, listen, I'm not trying to argue with Kiana or Kira. I'm just asking for a little grace. And Crystal's like, no, but Rob, girl. Oh, y'all. Crystal says, no, Robin says, Crystal, mind your business right now. Because she comes and she's standing over Robin like she's about to, chastise her or whatever. And she's like, Robin. And Robin's like, Crystal, mind your business. And she says, no, because you were just rude to Kira. Girl. And she says, Kira just said she was shit on me. Did you miss that? Did you stand up and try to do anything about that? She's like, go back and sit in your green chair. First of all, the way they talk to each other, no ma'am and no ma'am. Okay. Secondly, again, I don't think they're friends. These are definite frenemies, and I don't do the frenemy thing. Once I get a weird vibe, um, peace out. Done with you. I don't need any sort of friends whatsoever. Got my got my sisters, got my nieces, got my baby, got the bestie who's going nowhere. That's my boo. Yeah, don't need any new friends. So as soon as I get any sort of inkling of funny acting, no. So I don't know how these two call themselves friends when they're the main ones going at it, really. And might I add, the reason why I'm seeing the women that I have in my life that's going nowhere, that I don't need any new women, is because we would not speak to each other that way. I don't care. Sisters, y'all know sisters, cousins, whatever, like family will say whatever to you in terms of, girl, what you got on, that sort of thing. Like they'll let you have it. But it's always in a respectful manner. It's always with good intentions behind it. The way these two are speaking to each other, no, I can't see any of my sisters, anything like that, just being like, you go sit down, go sit in that green chair that you were sitting in before. Who talks to people like that? But also, I'm not going to go and stand over one of my sisters or whatever and be like, hey, listen, you were rude to this person. Give them an apology. Who am I? No, I'm not. No, this whole thing out of bounds. Out of bounds. And it's so funny because the other women picked up on it. I know the other woman was like, what the hell did we walk in on? Kiana in her confessional says, I just feel like Crystal and Robin has some deeper issues. And I'm like, yeah, y'all don't even have it together. How are you trying to invite other women into something when y'all don't even have it together? And these women can pick up on it. So they're sitting there. Crystal goes to sit down. She moves Kira into her seat that she was sitting in. Kira is talking with her mouth full. It's just too much. She tells Crystal, no, Crystal tells Robin to be quiet again. Robin says, Crystal, stop telling me to be quiet like that or whatever. And in the confessional, Robin says Crystal is pretending to be on my team and acting like she's trying to put out the fire. However, she's constantly throwing more gas on it. And I agree. I'm like, Robin is crazy, but she ain't crazy enough to notice exactly what this girl is doing. This girl is doing the most. It's too much. So finally, Kiana is, saying her grievances again with Robin. And she says, listen, I have enough respect for you to say that we can just have this conversation later, but you're not going to act like it didn't happen. Robin eventually just gets fed up and she's like, listen, I didn't say it didn't happen. I said we could talk about it later. I've apologized. How many times do you want me to apologize? Y'all just want to keep digging and digging. And as she's saying this, Crystal is like, Robin, Rob. And she stands up and she's like, quit telling me to be quiet. Like, so she's all in Crystal's face. Crystal's like, Robin, you're triggered. You're triggered. And I'm like, girl, that would trigger me even more. So Robin hits her hand. Who was sitting over there? I think it was Tiffany and somebody else got up and moved out the way. Like, look, we don't know what's going on here, but we're not about to try to stop it. So yeah, she's like, I'm not triggered. You're not on my team. And she's like, I am. I'm on your team. And I'm like, you're really not on her team. But she keeps telling her she's triggered. It's a whole mess. And it's these two. It's the two that brought them together that's getting physical and everything. Ugh, it's a hot mess. But I kind of can't wait to the next episode because it looks like the women are picking up on the whole trigger thing and them going like they're going to be the talk of the the party of what happened. It's so embarrassing that you two are the ones that brought them together, and when they go and talk about what happened, they're talking about you two. Like, so embarrassing. But the fact that everybody is picking up on the fact that Crystal with the, oh my God, you're triggered, you're triggered. And yeah, I'm going to agree. Somebody who said they have mental issues or whatever, stuff is actually triggering. So you probably don't want to keep telling them that they're triggered. That's not how you calm somebody down. Like, what the hell is wrong with this girl? But anyway, we will see what happens next week. If you guys are still here, you are the real MVP. Thank you so much. If you have not already, please subscribe. And I will see you guys very shortly for Ready to Love. Smooches.